Good mythical afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Ayala with your first video for this school year. This is 1.1, the social sciences. So as a few things, remember to pay attention to all the information as we're going along, and make sure that you are answering the questions that appear during this presentation on Edpuzzle. So one of the things that we're going to do during this presentation is I'm going to review how to use Cornell Notes, because you will be using that for just a little bit until we transfer to a different style. So at the very top of any time we use Cornell Notes, we're going to put what the unit and section, this is 1.1, and the name of the title, the social sciences, because we want to make it as simple as possible. We don't want to overdo this here. And then an easy way to fold our paper is what we do is we take the 3-hole punch line here and we fold it to this side over here to make the Cornell Notes line, just to make life a little bit easier for ourselves, because you know I don't have a ruler on me at all times, but I do today. So just to make it a little bit easier, just put a little bit line down, boom, and you're done. So really kind of simple way to start your notes. So when we look at the first slide, if it ever wants to work for me, come on, yay. These are the objectives. Most of my slides have the objectives on it. You do not need to write these. These are just there so you know what you should be able to do by the end of this discussion. So you should be able to describe the purpose of the social sciences, like why are we studying this? And you should be able to describe the basic areas or disciplines of study for the various social sciences, all the different ones that we have in this subject. So the first one is why study the social sciences. So how Cornell Notes work is on the left-hand side, you will put your major topic, ideas, or questions, and on the right-hand side, you will put your notes. So I would put something like why study the social sciences. Always feel free to shorten, though, what you're writing, because sorry about that random jump cut there. So you always feel free to shorten your writing and when you do your notes, because it's for you. It's not really so much for your instructors. As long as you have them and there's in a design format that makes logical sense, your life's easier. So you can put study the social sciences, you can put study question mark, SS question mark, however it works for you. So let's continue. So what is the whole purpose of the social studies? Why are we studying this? Well, it's a scholarly way to look at human society, including individuals, groups, and governments. So when we're going back to our Cornell Notes style, we just put our notes over here. Scholarly way to study human societies. Yet again, always feel free to shorten it. If you notice, I'm not putting included individual groups and governments, because in my perspective, society covers all of that. So why am I going to put that down? So yet again, you want to focus on the items that you need to help yourself be successful. So why do we study it? In general, it's to look at how our human societies work. Understand the societies we live in and their purposes, our cultures, and our ideals. So, we're going to look at a few of the different social studies today. So, is there more than one? Yes. So, over here, we want to make sure we skip a line between these two items. And then, I'm just going to put more than one. And the answer is yes. There's actually hundreds upon thousands of disciplines or areas of study. Because when you look at the social sciences or the social studies, you can't really teach it in a void without any other connections. You could, but it's not a very good way to do it in my perspective. So let's look at some of the major ideas. So one of the big questions I'm going to ask you is, why study the social sciences? Make sure you know that. If you don't, go back and review your notes. So the most well-known is history. So if you noticed, over here, I put that on my paper, on my notes, the big theme or idea on the left and the notes on the right. So what is history? Well, let's just add some notes. Study of people. So if you notice, I'm already shortening my writing because I don't want to write the whole word of people out, because to be upfront, I'm lazy. And you might as well make it easier on yourself. Events and theories of the past. Just to understand how things work and then how things change throughout time, I should say. So theories of the past. So, and this course itself is U.S. history. So it makes logical sense that you're going to be doing a lot of this. So from there, our next one, is the whole idea of why are we actually studying. It shows us how the world is today, and helps us understand our cultures as well, and our biases, how they shift throughout time. The next one is geography. There are 5 themes. They are location, region, place, movement, and human environmental interaction, which we like to call HEI, because us historians and geographers just don't like that many syllables. It's just too much work. So if you notice, we're just adding it to our Cornell notes, writing down what we need, and then we move forward. So when we look at, the social sciences, we know that the most well-known is history, and that there's 5 themes, and they're location, region, place, movement, and human environmental interaction. As always, remember to go back and reference your notes if you get lost or confused. So the next one is government. I'm going to kind of let you do your own writing now, because y'all know how to do this. Are the people, groups within a society that have the authority to make laws directly. So think of like civics or United States government, the people who have that ability to control our societies. So we have a lot of different types: republics, democracies, dictatorships, theocracies, and all of these have the idea of a citizen included, which is to be a legal member of a nation. So in the United States, we have the naturalization process to become a citizen. You could be born on our soil. Your parents could be a U.S. citizen, and you get U.S. citizenship. Or you can be just a U.S. resident and be here on a green card or for any of those said items. So the United States government is based on the federal system, which states, local, and national government have both shared and split powers. And they use due process, which is this concept of having a process in place when you get in trouble, to do paperwork, anything like that. There's a process in place. So make sure you know what is a federal system. How do you become a U.S. citizen if you're an immigrant? So then we have economics, which is the study of how people manage their resources by producing, exchanging, and using goods and services. AKA, this is about money. It's based on the idea of scarcity. Make sure you know that. Scarcity is the conflict between our unlimited needs versus our limited resources. I only have, let's say, $30. I need to go grocery shopping. I want all these things, but I can only have enough resources or currency to buy $30 worth of stuff. So that conflict between the two, is scarcity, and that's economics. It's how people figure out that conflict, how people think through that process. One of my favorite concepts in economics is opportunity cost. The cost of doing one thing over another. What is the cost of, let's say, going to sleep and not doing your homework? Well, the cost is you may have to get up early to do your homework. Or the cost may be you just don't get your homework turned in and you lose points. The cost of me going to Walmart is mean I did not go to Target. Opportunity cost. One thing over another. I played video games all night instead of going to sleep. The cost of that was a good night rest. That's okay. It's your choice. You choose of doing one thing over another. And then we have a capital, which are human-made goods to make other goods. And they are used by entrepreneurs to create businesses. And as a reminder, the United States is a market economy. Buyers and sellers get to choose freely. And we have a free enterprise system. That means we get to choose where we go shopping, what we buy. And that the government has no right to tell us where to go shopping. The government does not tell me I have to go to Walmart, or I have to go to Publix, or I have to go to Winn-Dixie. I can choose where I buy my products. And and these buyers and sellers are interdependent of each other. They both have to be in agreement. If someone's not selling something, you can't buy it. If you want to buy something, a seller needs to make sure that they have those products in place. Make sure that they have the item that you wish to buy. So that's just economics. We're going to be looking at that a lot this year. Some things that you need to make sure you understand. What is economics based on? What is opportunity cost? And what two groups are interdependent of each other? The next one is culture, are the set of beliefs, customs, laws, and art and ways of living that a group of people share. And then we have cultural traits, food, clothing, technology, and language that the people that share of the same culture share. So, for example, the United American culture is quite large. We have some certain cultural traits. For example, almost all of us have a smartphone in our society. That is a cultural trait. We know if you go around the world and you wear high tops, most people around the world do not wear high tops. You know who do? Who does? Americans. It's a cultural trait. So if you wear high top sneakers and you go overseas or go to a different nation, they're going to immediately know that you're an American based on how you dress, because that is part of our cultural traits. You know, we can even go to subcultures or smaller groups. Like, for example, a lot of middle schoolers like to hide in hoodies. It is a cultural trait. Most people who do that have a tendency to be in middle school. You don't really see very many adults hiding in their hoodies unless it's really cold or, they forgot to put proper clothing on, So we've got to understand that. So some additional topics in social sciences: psychology, study the mind; sociology studies the groups of people and their behavior; environmental sciences, which is how people use the environment based on both political, economic, government, and the hard sciences perspective; law; criminal justice. Or I'm hoping the button would work, and that's it. There's a lot more, but I'm not going to list all of them. So some of the other things that you need to know is what is culture, list other fields of study in the social sciences. And as a reminder, at the very end of every one of your Cornell notes, a good practice to put in place is to add a summary at the bottom. Just more or less what you learned to review, because it takes on average 2 to 6 times for someone to memorize something. 1 to 2 times for your short-term memory, 3 to 6 times for your long-term memory, which is why study is so important. Studying. So if you write a summary, this PowerPoint, this lecture, wherever you want to put it, is about the social sciences. And since Mr. A said that we're going to be looking at history a lot in here, we're going to be looking at geography with its 5 themes. And we're also going to be looking at economics quite often. I like to call it eco because I'm lazy. So that way I understand that I know these are the things that Mr. A is going to look at, and it's just a summary for myself. It's for you. It's not for me. Maybe you're just need to remember the 5 themes. So you might want to put geography, 5 themes, and just list them out just to help yourself out. So make sure that you're getting this done on the proper due date. And as always, don't forget to be awesome.